I'm worried about you. Well, you come out Monday, you're like, they're going to make the playoffs. And then you come out Tuesday, they're not in the playoffs. You come out Wednesday, it's like constant up and down with you, man. You really got to find some level spot to be.
I think that pretty much, you just summed up the Mariners season right now. Consistently inconsistent.
There you go.
And the expectation's so high with this team, and we keep going to the point that the American League West is just bad. I could state that the American League is bad. And I just want this Mariners team to get in a groove, to have some fun out there and get some energy. And it looked good, Paul. They won 3 games in a row. You're thinking, okay, here we go. And then just a couple tough ones against the Reds there. I mean, it was just... I don't know what to say, and now a big series ahead. You got the Rangers and then the Dodgers.
That's the thing. I mean, but you talk about the American League. Yes, it's weak across the league except for a couple of teams. And the AL West, there's no sugarcoating it. The AL West is the worst division in baseball. Now, Mariners fans, maybe those who are optimistic look at it would say, well, Paul, it's actually the most competitive league division in baseball. It's like it doesn't matter. This is a struggling division that, as Chris is going to go up and down, so are Mariners fans. All season long through September, you guys are going to be in it, out of it, in it, out of it, and this guy here is going to be insane. All right, let's start with those Mariners. They trail the first place Rangers by a half game in the AL West. Those two teams, of course, square off this weekend, 4-game set against the Rangers. Hems did have a chance to go into that series with some momentum. Instead, they closed their homestand with their 2 straight losses to finish the stand 3-3 against the Giants and the Reds. And Chris, as you mentioned, I mean, when the Giants and Reds come to town, it feels like a get-well tour, and it just didn't quite work out that way.
Well, and here's what's scary, Paul. I mean, they go 3-3 on this homestand. It could have easily been 2-4 when you look at that Saturday game where they kind of came out of nowhere to get that win. So thank goodness they had a late rally in that game to get the win to go to 3-3. But you know what? I just want to see some consistency with the bats. That's the key right now. We'll get into pitching here in a second. I just want some consistency with the bats. We see them put up 8 runs, and then they struggle for 2 games straight. I mean, I'm looking back at the season. I go back to maybe the Braves series. I felt like that was last year when the bats were rolling a little bit, and it's just been tough. And I know injuries, and I know there's people that are blaming the manager, but I'm sorry, when you have a different lineup out there every single day, it's been tough for this team to find consistency. And we're going to talk about guys, Paul, like, Julio Rodriguez, how key he is for this team to get the offense going. Cal Raleigh, Josh Naylor. I mean, these are superstars, and they are not putting up superstar numbers right now. Now, despite the loss, Paul, the Mariners continue to get great starts from their starters. Emerson Hancock, his 10th quality start of the season he threw. It was his 7th quality start with 1 or fewer walks allowed. I mean, he has been just awesome this year. Unfortunately, the Mariners can't help Emerson get the win on Wednesday. After the game, Emerson says, Mariner fans, well, including Chris Egan, you just need to keep the faith.
I mean, I think we've all heard about it. It's, not the first half that, we had probably expected or wanted. But at the end of the day, like, we got another opportunity in Texas, and you got another chance to go in there, compete as hard as you can, and then maybe you get on a run from there. Like, we don't know. But I think you have the off day tomorrow, guys get to reset, and then you have a really big 4-game series against Texas where, we're ready. We're ready to go in there and compete, and, that's kind of where our mindset is right now.
Chris's mindset, when he starts referring to himself in the third person, then we really have a problem. The Mariners starting pitching staff has been on fire. Despite the losing record, they have done their job. On the 6-game homestand, the starters had 5 quality starts. They also had a combined ERA of 2.94, Chris. That's impressive.
12 earned runs, 29 hits over 36 2/3 innings. Yes, that is very impressive. Not impressive is myself talking about myself in third person. It doesn't happen a lot, Paul. I'll say that. The bullpen has also been not as good as the starters, but they've been solid. You look at that weekend series, they didn't give up a run to the Giants, but in Game 3 of the Red Series, Edward Bizardo struggled. Bizardo in the 7th inning gave up a walk, 2 hits, including a 3-run home run. Bizardo still has an ERA under 3, and manager Dan Wilson didn't seem too concerned yesterday with how he pitched in the game.
I mean, I think, just got behind there on the walk and just unable to get back in the count. And Zardo's, he's always been so solid to us. And a guy going up there just looking for that first pitch heater and got one up in the zone and able to put his swing on it. And that's going to happen from time to time. We know that. But, that was uncharacteristic of Zardo. And that doesn't happen very often.
Well, it has been a tough season with injuries, and we talked about this. And I like to bring it up all the time. Mike Holmgren back in the day, he had some great teams with the Seahawks, and he would always say sometimes it's not the most talented team that wins it all. It's the healthiest team that wins it all when you get down to the stretch run. And this Mariners team, Justin Hollander said it last week, we're not going to make excuses because we're injured. And no team in baseball is going to have that excuse because everybody's dealing with injuries. And it has been a tough season for this Seattle team that injuries just keep creeping up on them. J.P. Crawford missed all 3 games against the Reds. He's been dealing with a sore left wrist. He'll get an additional day off today, and then the club will make a decision on whether he'll play against the Rangers. There's also a chance he could go to the injured list because you just never know the extent of these injuries, Chris.
Well, I tell you, Paul, on a club that needs veteran leaders big time right now, this would be a huge blow. Hopefully he does not go to the injured list. Definitely worth keeping an eye on him right now. We talked earlier this season about his play at short. I think he's been great at third base. You have to also look at his on-base percentage. He gets on base. He finds a way to get on base. He draws walks. I think J.P. Crawford is very valuable to this team. You need him in that lineup. We saw without him in the Red Series, they lose 2 out of 3. So this will definitely be worth keeping an eye on. Also worth keeping an eye on, everybody. Here we go. Brendan Donovan. Is he headed to Texas with the team? Here's all we know as of this morning. He was in the Everett Aqua Sox lineup last night. He was 0 for 4 on the night. He actually hasn't got a hit yet during his rehab work with the Rainiers or Aqua Sox, but taking a look, this is the lineup for Thursday's game coming from the Everett Aqua Sox. He is nowhere to be found in that lineup. We know the Rainiers are in Reno. I think, Paul, maybe there's a good chance that man right there, Brendan Donovan, is headed to Texas to join the M's. That would be good. He's played in 25 games for the Mariners this season. He's hitting .274 with an on-base percentage of .386. Am I concerned he didn't get a hit in single-A ball? Well, maybe a little bit,
Come
Paul.
on, man.
Maybe a little bit. It would have been nice to see him get a couple hits last night, but this is another thing to keep an eye on tomorrow as they begin this big series because Donovan can go so many places. He can play third. He can go into the outfield. I mean, you can put him in a lot of different places. And when we talk about an offense that needs help, hopefully he can provide a spark. We didn't see the spark with the Aqua Sox, but hopefully, hopefully he provides a spark for the
Well,
M's.
when you look at it like that, when you look at it on paper, you're up in Everett, you're not getting a hit, and you're a major leaguer. Yeah, there's some red flags there for sure. But the biggest thing when these guys go on rehab, Chris, is the fact that they will go in there and they'll hit a few games for the Rainiers, maybe hit a few games for the Aqua Sox. The biggest thing is the day after. How are they feeling? 2 days after, how are they feeling? So the Mariners, again, this is just a conspiracy theory that perhaps Brendan Donovan is headed down to Arlington. Who knows? It's actually a good guess, Chris, but they must be happy with the way he's feeling after these rehab starts. So that's a good thing. If he's feeling good after those games, the timing will come, whether it's single-A pitching or MLB pitching. As Chris said, he left back in May 15th with a batting average of .274. So there's something there for him. Mariners also need to keep an eye on their future star shortstop, Colt Emerson. We've been talking a lot of him lately. He's been incredible on the defensive side of things, but right now he seems a little lost at the plate, currently hitting .189. His batting average has steadily been falling over the past 10 games. A stat that Chris Egan pulled out today. Colt Emerson has watched his batting average plummet to 94. .094.
In his last 10 games, he's batting .094. I don't need to tell you, Paul, that's not good. Just 3 hits and 32 at-bats. Hopefully a healthy Brendan Donovan, a healthy J.P. Crawford can take a little pressure off of Colt. We have to remember he just turned 21. This is his first season in the big leagues. It is not easy. He's getting a lot thrown his way. Like we said, he's been sensational at shortstop. Right now, just struggling a little bit at the plate.
Yeah, and you're right. He just turned 21 on Monday of this week. So let's also talk about Julio Rodriguez. He's currently hitting .258, 1 for 4 yesterday as a DH. I feel like with Julio, we're starting to come up with different theories. Is he having lingering symptoms from his concussion? Is he dealing with those soft muscle injuries in his legs, some soft tissue issues? We do know this. Julio is at his best when he's roaming center field, making great catches, flashing that big smile, and having a great time with fans. The sooner he gets back to his everyday routine, the sooner he gets back into that groove, and it will be noticeable, Chris.
No, you mentioned it, that big smile. That big smile equals fun when you talk about Julio Rodriguez. I talked about J.P. Crawford being one of the leaders. It has not been a fun season for Cal Raleigh. He is another one of the leaders. They've got to find some joy again. You know, I want to see some high-fiving. I want to see some smiles. I want to see some energy. And you need to see it every night because this season is moving quickly. And this is a gigantic series. I know they all count as one game, but you need to go into Texas and you need to show the American League West that you are the team to beat in this division. It starts tomorrow. That is key. The time is now. The team needs to wake up and show it against the Rangers. Here's Dan Wilson's thoughts on the 4-game series in Texas.
You know, I think offensively, you know, we've made some adjustments here on the homestand and just continue to need to see the consistency continue to unveil and to unwrap. And you know, once we get on a roll here and start swinging the bat and scoring runs consistently and getting ourselves, you know, in good positions to win, you know, especially on the road, you know, you got to get on top early and you know, continue to add on and you know, this is they're all big games at this point. This is a big road trip, and you know, getting a chance for us to really find some consistency on offense is going to be a priority.
We don't want to say this is a crucial part of the schedule, but it's a big one for sure and a good gauge for the Mariners to see where they are with some of the better competition. Bryce Miller will be on the mound tomorrow night for the opener in Texas. Brian Wu Saturday, Logan Gilbert Sunday. George Kirby will wrap up the 4-game series next Monday. Man.
I'm telling you what, Paul, if you are on paper looking at this, I'm happy with those 4 guys pitching in Texas.
You know, I say the same thing, and we talk about it with Bill Kruger when he's on the show. When you're looking at the pitching rotation for the Mariners and you're looking for a guy that you get to miss in your series, there's no guy. All 5 guys on that Mariners, and now 6 with Luis Castillo, of course, throwing better. There's not a guy on that roster where you're happy to face. You know, like there's always going to be. You don't get a break. Let's just say that with the 6 starters.
No, you do not. They're all pitching great. We saw that stat earlier. Here's another one where Mariner fans should be excited about heading into this series. The fact that I know there were some questions that we didn't see Gabe Spire a couple days ago. He's healthy. He's rested. He's ready to go. We talked about it on this show yesterday, how Andres Munoz has been on fire the past couple of months. He's rested. He's ready to go. So you have some key components of that bullpen rested up for this Rangers series. So that is definitely good news to have those high leverage arms ready to go in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings.
Yeah, man, it was great. Well, listening to you talk to Munoz yesterday at T-Mobile Park, the fact that he just looked really relaxed with you, really confident, feels like he's back on his game, and if he can stay healthy, he certainly seems to be in the right headspace for a good stretch.
You know what I just figured out? You just said it right there. The interview with Andres. I feel like I'm like one of his. You know, like he's one of my kids. And you know, when your kids struggle, you struggle. That's why I'm struggling right now, Paul.
Well, listen, man. Like I said, it looked good. He feels good, and clearly that was something we got from the interview you had with him the other day.